Welcome to Sports Vibe TV. We're here with Mick Fitzgerald. Thanks very much for joining us, Mick. We're here to talk about the Betfair initiative, talking about national jockeys, and they've come up with a day for national jockeys. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, it's a fantastic initiative, and it's happening from today onwards, really until Saturday. It's National Jockey Day, so every tweet that you send, regardless of the subject, as long as you hashtag National Jockey Day, Betfair will donate £1 to the Injured Jockeys Fund, which is a fantastic charity which helps jockeys who had one ride maybe in their career, 20 rides, right down to guys who have had thousands of rides like me, and who are just unfortunate enough that through whatever reasons they need help.
Do you think jockeys get enough recognition from people outside of the sport of horse racing?
I think sometimes no. What people don't realise is that very often jockeys operate on an empty stomach. They've had to travel for 3 hours in a car. They then have to get changed and put very little clothes on, go out in freezing cold, then maybe get trampled on, and then get abuse from somebody on social media when they're driving home. So it's not an ideal scenario. Yes, we all love the glamour. Yes, we all love the glitz of riding winners at Ascot, Cheltenham, riding the winner of the Grand National. It's brilliant at glory days, but not every day as a jockey is a glory day.
One thing for me that I notice is that you've got the Jockeys Championship. Do you think that should be held in higher regard? I know it is within horse racing, but outside it doesn't get as much media coverage as, say, some other sports that have individual awards. Do you think that should be more well recognised?
Possibly, but I think, jockeys in racing in general it's almost like a fringe sport. It's not like football where you have the leading goal scorer in the Premiership, because the Premiership is followed by so many people. There's a lot of people who are interested in horse racing, but not all of them are interested in who's riding the most winners. They'll have their own favourites, and I think for that reason the sport has to promote it better itself maybe, and if they do, well then people will revere the jockeys for what they are, which is, a lot of them now have an awful lot of effort put into being fitter, so that in turn means you recover quicker, and all those sort of things can only make jockeys last a little bit longer.
And looking back on the season so far, 2014, what's your standout moment from horse racing?
I think horse racing's standout moment really was Noble Mission winning the Champion Stakes at Ascot this year for Lady Cecil. I think that was a fantastic day, and not long after the loss of the great man himself, Sir Henry Cecil. He left a huge hole in racing, but for Noble Mission to win on that day, I think, was quite fitting.
We've got the Betfair Chase coming up. Who do you fancy for that one?
I think it's going to be a great contest. You've got some real stars running in it. You've got previous winners of the Betfair Chase running also, which gives it a real classy feel to it. I think you might have to look at some of the younger guns though this year. Look at something like Tackran Desai, trained by John Joe O'Neill. He's a very smart horse. I think, he could be on the verge at the moment of, really entering the frame for some of these top class races, and I think it could start with him winning the Betfair on Saturday.
And looking back at your career, Mick, what was your favourite race track to go to?
I loved Cheltenham. There is no other. And we're lucky in jump racing. We almost have the Olympics every year, and our Olympics are the Cheltenham Festival. And if you're lucky enough to win a few of the big ones at the Cheltenham Festival, you've not quite made it, but you've arrived. If you walk into that hallowed winners enclosure having won one of the big ones, it's a feeling like no other.
And would you say one of your greatest achievements was at Cheltenham, or where else would you say?
Well, I think I was lucky enough to win the Grand National as well in 1996. That's the race that everybody knows, regardless of whether you're into horse racing or not. Somebody will always have either done something on a little bit of a sweepstake on the Grand National. So to have won that one as well, I think for me means that when people say, what did you do? And you say, well, I used to be a jockey. And the first question they always ask you is, did you ever win the Grand National? And luckily I can say yes.
Mick, thanks very much for your time.